Hello, I'm back again to talk about, American domestic politics. Well, it turns out Lindsey Graham's sister already got appointed to the seat to replace Lindsey Graham, and he's not even buried yet. He just passed away. Um, and his sister's already caught up in a scandal, and she just got in the race, and now she officially decided she's going to run for the seat. Okay. Um, Apparently parts of MAGA are divided over her. And again, this is a time when the Republican Party is not going to have a good election year. And I would even tell you it's going to carry even to places like South Carolina. Because people in this country are pissed. They're mad. And it's not just an ideological disagreement. People are angry. And they're going to take their anger out on anybody that's associated with Donald Trump and the GOP right now. And that includes places like South Carolina, Alaska, Texas, places that normally vote Republican, because the one thing it gets to people, thing they do not like, is corruption, nepotism, crony capitalism, corporate greed. And what the Republican Party has shown themselves to be in the American public is the true elitist. And for the first time, they are now branded as the elitist party once again, which is awesome because I want people to see them for what they are. Republicans have never been for working class people, okay? Not much less than Democrats, okay? Republicans were always the party of the rich. And I don't know how so many people in this country bought the con that the Republican Party was for working class people. It's not true. They use culture as a way to relate to regular people. We see this time and time again with church and state. Race baiting, gender baiting politics, crap like that. And it seems to work really well for so many election cycles, but, you know, um, I'd argue it's not going to work with the younger generation, though. The future generation's voting, it's a new day in America, baby. The way Gen Z and millennials are going to be voting, which, by the way, will be the majority voting bloc in the next decade. Okay. So the Gen X people will be where the baby boomers are at. Then you're going to have the millennials, which are going to be like the next Gen Xers. And then the Gen Z people are going to be like the millennials. So, that's the new on the horizon. And you're seeing a real populist uprising in our politics right now. And finally, the left has captured that energy, which I also want to highlight. I'm going to show you a clip about Lindsey Graham's sister in a minute here, but I also want to talk about the subject of Nick Fuentes, who, it's even funny to say this, he identifies himself as a white nationalist, but he's a little Mexican dude. It's pretty laughable, right? I laugh when I see little Mexican guys who are just like pro white supremacy, and it's just so laughable because it's a cosplay joke. But here's the thing. Even Nick Fuentes just effectively said today, Democrats are more pro-America first than Republicans. When he started looking at their voting record, and I'm not saying this guy's now a Democrat. I don't know what he is. But he's finally seeing the Republican Party for the charlatans they are. And he's not happy with them. Okay? And he's right when we talk about the issues of foreign policy, the issues of Israel, and how the Republican Party wants to vote for anything Israel wants. They make it very clear. Anything anything that another government from another country wants, Republicans are on board for it. Democrats are the ones voting against it. It's ironic, right? And they're starting to realize it. He's seeing that more now Democrats are talking about working class issues. Okay, Democrats are trying to connect with regular people again. Republicans have become complacent with their power and don't care. They're doing everything that foreign dictatorships want and what Donald Trump wants and their corporate donors. He's realizing Democrats voted against merging U.S. intelligence with Israeli intelligence, which is common sense, I would tell you, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to align your domestic government with any foreign government, okay? Especially when it comes to our intelligence information. All right. He sees that they're taking better stances on foreign policy, which is a big thing. And I've said this for a long time. I don't know why a lot of people on the right got this belief that Republicans were less pro-war than Democrats. It's never been true. I guess people have forgot about the Bush years in the early 2000s when we pulled us into Iraq, that disastrous Iraq war. Okay. Republicans have always been worse on foreign policy. But so much of the country believed they were better on foreign policy. I don't know why. Maybe they think they have a stronger presence around the world. That's the impression that people believe. I don't know. But I noticed a lot of voters were actually latched on to the message Trump was putting out there because he kept saying, I want to end the wars. And there was a lot of people on the right who actually wanted to pull out of the wars around the world, which I was encouraged by that. Even though I didn't agree with a lot of their views, we do agree on that. We do agree on that. You would get agreement with me on that. I am not a fan of interventionism. I'm not an interventionist in any measure. Okay, I believe in being practical. I don't believe we can be complete isolationists, but I do believe we can not have wars if possible. Okay, wars of aggression. Just negotiate. Diplomacy. That's really what most people want. Diplomacy. All right. So, again, you have to look at the records of foreign policy with the two parties. I know that both parties are not great on foreign policy. I'm not telling you Democrats are great on foreign policy. They're not. But they are certainly better than Republicans on this issue. Okay? And again, I don't know what I have to remind people what 2005, 1, 6, 8 during the Bush years was like. I remember that because I'm 41 years old. So I was in my early 20s, late teens during the Bush presidency. I remember the Iraq war. I remember inflation getting out of control and gas prices going up and all this stuff going on. All this chaos and shenanigans and people dying over BS technically. Okay, and then to find out it was all for a lie. And all these people made billions of dollars. Yeah, that was what I remembered 20 years ago. And deja vu, we're revisiting it again in 2026 under what? A Republican Congress and a Republican president, as in Donald Trump, who turns out to show he is worse than George Bush ever was, which I didn't think was possible, but it's happened. And oh yeah, and then there was a slew of corruption scandals under the GOP-controlled Congress. There was a lot of shenanigans that went on during the Bush years. People have forgotten about all that. Okay, we're seeing it now on steroids in 2026, but it existed before. Okay, they blew up our deficit 20 years ago. They're doing it right now. We did not save any money in the long run. Actually, though, as bad as things were 20 years ago, they're not as bad as they are now. They're far worse now because now we're getting hit hard with inflation. Everything's tanking because of the instability. We got a guy pushing a fascist government now, where before they were bad, but they were traditionally bad. He blew our deficit up even worse. We're facing a recession. AI's taken over everything, so it's only gotten worse. But I would tell you this was the case this has always been the case. I'm just glad now people are finally seeing it and realizing it. You know, it's just time for a new politics in America. It's time. We need a populist uprising. It's finally starting to happen. You know, thank God. We need it. Anyways, y'all, you have a great day. You have a great night. Goodbye.